I tell them suckers to move. I ain't in the mood. Got me with the crew, let me do what I do. I tell them suckers to poof. Got me in the booth, lobby in the truth. Let me do what I do. Yeah, remember when the U come through, enter the music jungle. Or back with the block, I used to rock, I used to fumble. I still rock down, drop the ball where I want to.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
And this is the OnlyFights Podcast.
Episode 20.
Episode 20.
Getting up there.
Moving on up.
What's up, man?
What's going on, man? We had another action-packed weekend. I'm gonna stop saying that, man. We always have action-packed weekends.
Yeah, man. You just gotta pay attention.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man.
It was the weekend of the 135ers.
Facts. But before that, we had the circus came into town.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, we had a Triller event, and I should have liked it in theory. I'm a big hip hop fan, so Bone Thugs versus 3-6 Mafia. That should have been entertaining for me, and it was, but like for all the wrong reasons. I actually really didn't catch it, but I caught the highlights.
Real quick, who would you have picked in that matchup?
I really thought Bone Thugs would have won.
Yeah,
like
me too.
Convincingly too, but apparently they didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
I think it depends on the audience, I guess.
They had boxing. They had Michael Hunter again. The last, I forget. I think it was the Jadakiss and the Locks and Dipset. They had Michael Hunter on that, and he knocked the dude out. But in this fight, he struggled to a split decision draw against Jerry Forrest, who not the most dangerous opponent. He has losses to guys like Carlos Takam and I think Dillian White and a lot of those guys. Yeah. So yeah, man. And Michael Hunter, he didn't look good at all. Some people thought he lost pretty handily, but he got a split decision draw. And on the undercard, unbeaten contender Cassius Chaney suffers his first loss against another undefeated fighter in George Arias. Didn't watch that, but not a good night for the marquee, quote unquote marquee fighters of the event. Yeah, and then the main event with the music battle with Bone Thugs, that also ended up with some scrap. And did you see that?
That was crazy.
Busy Bone was talking shit and basically saying, "Y'all not gonna disrespect me during my set," and talking all that. And I think he threw like a towel or something. I think he threw a water bottle or something.
A cup. I think he had a cup or something.
Man, come on, man.
It was hilarious to me how he threw the cup and then he somehow ends up behind everybody.
Behind everybody, right.
You can't start the fight and then end up in the back of the crowd.
They start rumbling and yeah, man, it was kind of embarrassing.
Apparently they came back out though. I guess they went in the back and then I don't know if they they talked it out and they came out and they apologized and they kept going and apparently it was a hell of a show.
Oh yeah? Oh, well, maybe I should have waited. Yeah, nah, I mean I seen them perform my favorite Bone Thugs song, the one with Tupac. And, obviously there's a lot of hostility in those lyrics, so like there seemed to be like a lot of hostility when he was spitting the lyrics. Yeah. And that was cool though. I like talking about Triller, man, just to laugh at it.
Yeah, they had a DJ battle in between too at some point.
Oh yeah, I think they did that in the last one.
Yeah. All kind of battling going on.
All kinds of stuff, yeah.
The only thing I like about Triller is how they were like talking so much shit on the UFC last week, like saying how they put on a way better production and all this shit. I guess because of the music performances.
Yeah, I tuned that out.
I was like, ridiculous. Okay, now you guys taking a little too far. Like just have fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, come out of some of these smaller leagues like Bare Knuckle and
exactly.
Even Bellator. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Bellator would be a hard thing to go against too, man. They've been having they had a nice card on Friday. Ending with a beautiful knockout. What was that? A spinning back fist or something like that?
Yeah, spinning back fist by Sergio Pettis. It was pretty crazy the way he did it because it didn't seem like it was really like he threw like a high kick. And the guy ducks under it, and then just because of the miss spinning, he just happens to put his fist out there and throw the spinning back fist, and it just lands perfect, and the guy just went to sleep right away.
Fourth round.
Yeah,
he was losing.
I thought it was pretty cool how pretty respectable how Sergio Pettis went for the hammer fist at the end, and then like he like held it back right the last second because he saw the guy was out, like he was sleeping.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So I was like, I respect that. That was cool.
Yeah, he was losing, bro. He was getting lit up that whole fight. It was looking bad for him.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw the the KO. So yeah, he was defending his bantamweight championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty crazy. I thought it was flyweight because he fought in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he fought at flyweight.
Yeah.
And then he got cut eventually. He had a bunch of losses, and it's crazy. Now he's the fucking bantamweight
champion. Yeah, he's like 4-5-0 in the Bellator right now.
Yep.
That's good stuff.
Bellator also announced their Grand Prix for next year. It seemed pretty stacked. It seemed pretty exciting. It's gonna be fun to watch.
And that's bantamweight, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for their bantamweight.
Yeah.
That's pretty. It's really interesting how they do those Grand Prix things. I really like how they do that. Like, it makes it so much more. I don't know, it just adds a whole other element to it. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, kind of like PFL with the whole playoff thing.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, so that was the 135, and then in UFC we went right into the 135ers. Jose Aldo versus Rob Font.
That was a good card.
It was a really good card.
Welcome back card.
I only watched the main card, so I could just run through the whole main card real quick. The first fight we had Alex Morono versus Mickey Gall, welterweight fight. Alex Morono is a striker. Mickey Gall is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Most of Mickey Gall's wins are from rear naked choke, so we already knew how what his game plan was. Not the most exciting fight. Gall was just trying to get a takedown the whole time.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it. Morono was able to keep him away, and just use his boxing. He actually drops Gall at the end of the first round with a jab, and that was pretty much the story of the whole fight. Morono was able to keep the fight on the feet and have his way, and got the unanimous decision. I think that's his third straight win.
Nice.
It was a good win. Mickey Gall, yeah, he got work on the stand up. The second fight, Brandon Allen versus Chris Curtis. This was a good fight, middleweight fight. Brandon Allen is another jiu-jitsu guy. He actually submitted Kevin Holland in his UFC debut in 2019.
Yeah.
Chris Curtis, I actually saw his UFC debut live fucking last month.
Nice.
In Madison Square Garden. He's not a rookie though, man. This guy, he has like over 35 pro fights. He just got in the UFC a little later.
Yeah.
But he got the knockout last month in New York against Phil Hawes. Really impressive first round KO. So this is a pretty quick turnaround for him. So it was a exciting matchup to see him go against this jiu-jitsu guy. So he was in trouble early in the first round. Allen just like somehow like uses the cage to like get on his back like right away. He's like gets his back standing up, and almost gets to choking. Curtis is able to defend it pretty well, and gets him off his back eventually. And then at the end of the towards the end of the first, Allen like pulls guard and almost gets like a leg lock. Like he gets the attempt, but Curtis is able to defend it well and like roll and get out of it. So he was in real a lot of danger in the first round. In the second round, Chris Curtis comes out and he lands a real nice combination, like a left hook to the body and right hook to the head, and he hurts him pretty bad. And Chris Curtis jumps all over him. He lands a big knee to the head, and then the fight is stopped right away. Another big KO win for Chris Curtis. It was fun to watch. He said he wants to get right back in there, so we might see another quick turnaround from him. He's like in his mid-30s though, so he's already I'm sure he wants to try to get that.
He's the one who said he wanted to fight on 269.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. Which is next week.
Exactly. Crazy.
But he didn't take much damage at all. Like he was in trouble the first round on the ground, but didn't really take any damage. So
Yeah,
that'd be
true.
crazy. He seems small though. I think he's only 5'10". When it's crazy, he's 5'10". Izzy is the middleweight champ. Izzy's like 6'4".
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The next fight was Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos. Clay Guida, these guys are both veterans. I actually thought that Clay Guida was older, but Santos is actually older than him. Santos is 41.
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
Guida's only 39. For some reason, I thought Guida was so much older.
Yeah, he looks a lot old.
Yeah, like. But yeah, man, he's always been fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wasn't expecting much from this fight, but it actually ended up being pretty exciting.
Yep.
Santos was way taller. I'm surprised that he was able to make 155. Both these guys are older, but Santos comes out and he hurts Guida with like a kick to the body like early on, and then has him in a lot of trouble, man. Is hitting him with everything, like empties the gas tank and is hitting him with a bunch of shit. Drops Guida a bunch of times, like really beats him up, and Guida's able to survive somehow. And by the end of the first round, Santos is like, you could tell he's completely burned out,
right? Like
completely burned out, and Guida's even able to get a takedown, like towards the end of the first round, and then ends like on top of him. And then the second round starts. Santos could barely even keep his hands up anymore. Like he is so tired, and Guida just implements his game plan, takes him down, works him on the ground, gets the ground and pound. Santos gives up the back. Guida takes the back, takes the neck, and chokes him out, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting. Pretty, like
very dramatic.
Yeah, very dramatic, and it's always so. I feel like with Guida's style, it even looks so much more dramatic. He's always like moving around so much, like, he came out like crazy. Got beat up that first round, like, oh yeah, bad, but then ended in a dominant position. It was wild. Yeah. I was really impressed by that performance. He keeps saying that the best is ahead of him. I think he can keep fighting these guys though. Like I think his last fight he fought Diego Sanchez. Yep. Like those, he could keep fighting those guys. But actually, who he called out? He called out Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
That'd be pretty wild,
dude. Put them together. Put them in.
For Nate's last fight.
Yeah, man, because those are two veterans, and
they actually fought. They actually fought before, and I fucking don't even. I'm not even sure how that ended.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
But I know they fought before.
That had been a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago. And I only know it because I seen they showed some of the clips and shit, but I'm not sure how that ended. I should have looked that up.
But like right now, because they're obviously two different fighters now, man. Like make
sure.
that shit happen, bro. That'll be a nice going away party for
for Nate
Diaz.
The next fight, it was Jimmy Krupp versus Jamal Hill, lightweight fight. No, light heavyweight fight. Excuse me. Jimmy Krupp, is a tough Australian fighter. Jamal Hill, his nickname is Sweet Dreams.
Nice. And
he really lived up to the name.
Did he come out to the song? Like,
I'm not sure what song he came out to. I didn't watch the card live, so I'm not sure.
I would ask if it was the original, if it was the Marilyn Manson version.
Yeah.
I like the Marilyn Manson version better. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, he knocks out Jimmy Krupp with a real nice step in right hook, like under a minute, and he actually lands it. He actually lands that punch right before he knocks him down, or knocks him out, and he lands it like a little bit off. It's like a little bit behind the head, but it still kind of knocks him down.
Yeah.
He gets back up, and then he lands it just perfect and just put him right to sleep. It was real nice. Hill looks real fast, real slick. In that light heavyweight division, I'm excited to see him fight some of the other guys. Next was the co-main, Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fazeev, lightweight fight. This was a really anticipated matchup. These guys were like former training partners, and apparently they're still friends. They were both 10-1 coming into the fight. Both high-level strikers, and they really lived up to it, man. It was real like technical kickboxing match, pretty much.
Yeah.
Even the first round was very even. Both guys were landing big shots. Riddell was really sharp and probably like the best I've ever seen him. He looked really good. I think Fazeev seemed just a little bit faster. But yeah, both of them were landing like great combinations. Really mixing in the leg kicks and elbows and body kicks. Both having their moments.
Those are the fights that I like.
Yeah.
All the striking and all.
Yeah, it was really like if you like striking, it was real technical striking. Both of them were landing big shots. Both had their moments, like I said. Riddell gets cut above the eyebrow with the elbow, like early in the second round, I believe. Okay. Did you see the cut? That cut was bad. It was like pretty much his whole eyebrow. Yeah. It went around his whole eyebrows, the whole thing. And Fazeev was kind of busted up too. By the end, they were both kind of bloody. But yeah, the big difference was the body language, man. Like Fazeev just seemed so comfortable and relaxed in there. Third round comes, both guys are still landing hard. and Fazeev lands a beautiful spinning wheel kick to the head.
Money.
It was like lands perfect,
Yeah.
and it just like freezes. It just like freezes Riddell. Like it almost looks like an early stoppage, but when they showed the angle where you could see Riddell's eyes, you could tell he was just out of it. But he was even though he didn't fall, he was standing and was just completely out of it.
Yeah.
And then and the fight was stopped. So it almost looked like early, but when they showed the other angle, like you could see his face, then he was out. It was crazy, man. It was a really impressive knockout. Fazeev's 5th straight win.
Nice.
He's ranked 14th, and Riddell was ranked, or Riddell, excuse me, was ranked 12th. So we'll see Fazeev up there, move up. He's only 28 years old, so I can't wait to see him, up against some of the other lightweights, the top 10 lightweights that division stacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good win for him. And then the main event, back to the 135ers, Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. And man, Jose Aldo continues to prove everybody wrong and all the haters wrong. It's crazy. Even I doubt him sometimes. Like, I really thought, like I remember saying I thought Rob Font was a younger, hungrier fighter, but it turns out he's not even that much younger. He's 34 as well.
Yeah.
He's been around, and Aldo is 35. Rob Font's actually Puerto Rican too. I was rooting for him, man. I was hoping he would pull it off, but and he looked really good. Like he looked really good. He has a lot of experience, but I would say Jose Aldo definitely has more experience. To say the least, he has more experience. And obviously Aldo's a legend, man.
Font got hands though, man. Like he probably could have been a boxer, especially coming from a Puerto Rican background. I mean, he probably could have been a boxer, but.
Yeah, he looked really good in that first round. He was moving well, like switching stances, and he really wasn't letting Aldo get his rhythm at first. Like, like Aldo really couldn't even get set. It looked like, he was doing a good job of keeping him off, keeping him off balance and stuff. Until right before the round ended, Aldo just hits him with like a perfect 1-2, right down the middle, and puts him on his ass. And then Font survives. Aldo jumps all over him, but Font survives. But that was just the beginning. That was really just the beginning. Yeah, he gets beat up pretty good in this fight, and he's really tough, and he is landing shots on Aldo, but the power is the big difference.
Yeah.
Font just couldn't seem to hurt Aldo. Like he was touching him, but he just couldn't seem to hurt him. And whenever Aldo landed, he clearly hurt him. And that was a big difference, man. He dropped them multiple times throughout the fight. Font showed a lot of heart. Never stopped fighting back. Even when he was in, when you thought that he was gonna stop or the fight could have been stopped, he kept turning. He kept, showing the referee that, that he was gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he gets a fucking beating by the King of Rio, and Jose Aldo wins by unanimous decision.
Yeah, it was a good fight, man. Great fight, actually.
Yeah, really, really impressive win by Aldo.
Whole card, like I said, was fire. They were honoring the ESPN analyst that passed away like 10 years ago. Scott Stewart, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, they were honoring him. I caught that on the replay. That was dope. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that was really cool. Damn, 10 years ago?
I've just made that up, or didn't make it up, but I'm guessing. It was a long time ago though.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember. It doesn't feel that long ago, but yeah, I remember seeing him on.
It was.
Yeah, he was actually a big UFC fan. That's why, obviously.
Right.
That's why
he was big on UFC, and he was big on UFC like.
Coming
back,
to ESPN.
Back when before it was as big as it is now. You know, like he caught on quick. Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was a good card, man. Jose Aldo, he was ranked 5th. Font was 4th. So this puts him right back up there. He says that he wants to be, a champion of the bantamweight division. I don't know if he gets it if Peter Yan is still the champion. I mean, he already lost to Peter Yan. I don't think he beats Peter Yan, but I do think that Aldo could beat pretty much anybody else in that division.
Yeah.
But then I forgot about the one person that he called out. He actually calls out T.J. Dillashaw.
That would be a good one.
That would be a really good fight. T.J. Dillashaw and Jose Aldo. That's a main event fight. That should be a fight night 5-rounder.
Yeah, Dana White's gonna make that happen.
Yeah, that was really good. And Jose had a little bit of words for Khabib, who has been kind of like, recently kind of talking shit on in interviews and shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, man. Like, I don't know. He was always known for being so humble,
Right.
and everything, and now it's like he's almost like he's a different person. And I think what Jose Aldo said really, like, he really hit the nail on the head when he was pretty much saying that Khabib sounds a little what's the word, like
he retired too early.
Yeah, like he's regretting it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He seems a little, regretful that he retired early, because he was saying, even before this fight, he was saying that Jose Aldo is just like hurting his legacy, and that, you know what I mean? Like, if you can't be champ, then you should just retire. You know?
I remember, I don't remember exactly which one, but there was like one of those hot boxing with Tyson things that I saw where Tyson, I'm pretty sure he was talking to another former fighter, and he was saying like retirement is like suicide to a lot of fighters. And I'm not saying this verbatim, but so and I'm not saying that Khabib is on that with the mental health thing, but yeah, man, him being retired and seeing the world pass him by, the UFC MMA world pass him by, as he can just be on the outside looking in. Yeah, it does seem like he has these regrets of damn, maybe I retired too early, maybe I should have stayed. And yeah, so
for sure. And that makes sense. That analogy makes sense, because it's like, we talk about Khabib as if he's not here no more.
Right.
And that's,
he's not.
So it is,
He's not.
It's true. It's like, it's almost like suicide, because Khabib's like, hey, I'm still alive, I'm still here. But
yeah,
it's like, nah, not really. You retired.
And it doesn't help that we keep seemingly trying to find the next Khabib with these other fighters from his area and with his style.
Yep.
So that could be getting to him too.
So yeah, he definitely seems a little salty, man. He might be regretting it a little bit.
Yeah. That sounds like salt.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, that was a pretty good card.
Word, man. Well, the 135, that weight class don't stop. It does change names though when you go over to boxing.
Yeah.
We call that in boxing the lightweight division. And in the lightweight division, we had two really good main events. I'll run through the first card, which was on DAZN. That was Devin Haney taking on JoJo Diaz. And this was a good card. DAZN, y'all know I love DAZN. I always love the cards that Eddie Hearn be putting on. Usually a lot of upsets, man.
Yeah.
But we start off with in the super bantamweight division at 126 pounds. Mark Castro has his fourth fight this year. Fifth fight overall. He's a new guy. He just came out last year, and he's now 5-0 with 5 knockouts after stopping Ronaldo Solis in the second. It was a nasty right hand that drops him. Business as usual for the up and coming prospect. I look forward to seeing him probably relatively soon. As often as he's fighting.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second fight, I believe it was a heavyweight fight. Filip Hrgovic improves to 13-0 after stopping Amar Amatovic. Another unbeaten guy for an IBF version of a heavyweight title. I don't want to get into that, but
another version.
Yeah. And those were just like the early fights. The ones that I was really looking forward to starts with a nice fun matchup in the women's welterweight division. Jessica Mccaskill puts her undisputed titles on the line against the rugged and very game Candy Wyatt. Mccaskill, she came out looking for a knockout. She was headhunting, and I didn't like that she was defensively irresponsible, and Candy Wyatt was making her pay, man. She was landing some good counter punches, and I don't know if she was hurting or discouraging Mccaskill, but at the end of the day, this is boxing. Like you never know what can happen with just one punch. So like I said, she was headhunting. She was doing good work, but she was also doing bad work in the sense that she was taking shots. And I think by like the third, fourth round, I saw her fighting with her mouth open. She seemed to be breathing really heavy. And in the fifth round, I thought Candy Wyatt had a good round. So I was getting a little worried for I was rooting for McCaskill, and she put all the worry to an end around like the sixth round. She started getting back on her boxing and landing shots, starting to be exhibit better defense, and by the 6th round, I was calling for the stoppage. She would end up taking Candy White would end up taking a lot of shots, unnecessary shots, and I thought in the 6th round you could have stopped it. Nobody would have complained. 7th round, a little bit more of the same with less action, and the referee kind of just decides to stop it, and it looked like a bad stoppage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like with these referees, man. It's like you can't just let a fighter take a beating and then stop the fight after a few punches. It just looks bad. Stop it when it's looking bad, and it won't look bad. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's almost like they're admitting the mistake.
I don't know, man, but yeah, man, this was a good win for Jessica Mccaskill. Candy White was ranked number 6. And I mean, Mccaskill had already beaten like all the guys or females in the top 10 in her division. So we'll see where she goes from here, or who gets the next title shot.
Nice.
But yeah, 7th round stoppage for Jessica Mccaskill. Moving on, I didn't know until right before days leading up that Montana Love was on his undercard. Man, he was actually the co-main. Montana Love, 16-0 with 8 knockouts, takes on a very game Carlos Diaz, seasoned guy. I forgot who he. I know he has a loss to. I think he only had 1 loss. Yeah, he was 29-1 with only 1 loss to Jose Zepeda. So this will be another former Zepeda opponent that Montana Love fights, and once again he does a more impressive job, I would say, against these opponents.
Nice.
So he stopped Zepeda stopped this guy in like 5 rounds. Yeah, and Montana Love drops him like 3 times in the first, and stopped him in the 3rd. Yeah.
Damn.
And then kind of the same thing where it's just like it was actually the 2nd round where he dropped him like 3 times.
So there's no 3 knockdown
No
rule.
3 knockdown rule, and the referee didn't stop it. But then in the 3rd round, Diaz comes out and he's game, he's poised, he's landing shots, he takes another combination from Love, another couple punches, and the referee decides to stop it. And Diaz is pissed, and
Wow.
I think Love was pretty pissed too. Because I don't want to say you robbed the guy, but you kind of robbed the guy of an opportunity. You robbed Love of an opportunity.
Yeah.
You robbed the fans of a potential fight. And if he had to go down one more time, what was one more time? As long. But then again, the safety of the fighters. So it is what it is. It was a good fight, good outing for Montana Love. I do have to note that it was a scheduled 140-pound contest until Love couldn't make the weight. He was actually 3 pounds over.
No shit.
So they had to schedule it at 144. So you got to question where does Love go from here in terms of his division, if he could continue to make 140, because right now it's looking like he can't.
Yeah.
And I think a big problem with that is a factor that I had a problem with some of what I saw in the fight, which was lack of proper defense. He kept his hands a little too low. He wasn't quick enough to evade punches with his hands being that low. And I think a lot of that is because when I saw this dude, I was like, yo, man, this guy could be on a bodybuilding magazine. Like
a lot of muscles.
The dude got muscles, man. And I'm just like, I don't think that's good, man. That so many things, man. So many things when, we saw with AJ being too muscular, the muscles restrict your movement. It takes up too much oxygen, so it makes you tired.
Yeah.
And it makes you heavier without any significant benefits. I mean, if you're a heavyweight, you can make it work for you if you're a smaller guy like Holyfield was. But, there's no reason to look like a bodybuilder when you're a boxer.
Yeah.
And, yeah, his nickname is Too Pretty. So I can only imagine that he's just doing that for his
for the aesthetics,
for the physique, and to quote unquote look good. Nah, man, you got to worry about what's gonna make you a better fighter. And I think when you move up, when you step up rather in competition, I think if I can see it, these other fighters can see it. And,
for sure.
And I'm a fan. I like this guy Montana Love. I told y'all that I've seen him fight in and rinky dinky undercards and fucking weird ass towns in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Bro, I seen that shit. So I love to see this guy on these pay-per-view cards, on these DAZN cards, and I just want the best for him, man. So hopefully he can trim down on some of that muscle, or if he has to move, if he's gonna move up. But you know,
word.
I can't wait to see him, man. He was with his dog. I don't know if you've seen. He had his it was like a bulldog.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He
That's cool.
He was training. He had training videos with the dog, and then he came out. Oh, he came out to a bunch of Mexican music. He was fighting a Mexican guy, and he came out to a bunch of Mexican music with like the sombrero and the Mexican outfit, and you know, kind of like how Floyd did when he went against De La Hoya. And I thought that was some fun mind games.
Yeah, right. Then Tank do that too.
I think he did. I think he did that against Leo Santa Cruz.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. So, but you know, good co-main, good fight by like I said, good showing by Montana Love. DAZN now has Sean Porter as a commentator.
Nice.
Like I don't know how official that was, but
yeah, 'cause he seems to be jumping around. I was also kind of questioning that, like, how is he able to get on all these different networks and commentate?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that he's retired now, so we'll probably see him even more. I mean, yeah, that dude be doing
We're already seeing him a lot.
We Triller, now DAZN.
Now I'm sure he'll sign like a long-term contract or something with the. You know.
Yeah, I know he was with was that top city rank top whatever the fuck, it wasn't top rank, but I'm getting confused. Anyways, moving on to the main event on DAZN, Devin Haney taking on JoJo Diaz.
Yes,
good fight. That was a good fight. You know, JoJo Diaz, I'm sorry, Devin Haney comes out. He's a WBC champion, regular champion at 135, which is why there's dispute for the undisputed with the whole George Kambosos thing.
The dispute for the undisputed.
Yeah, and George Kambosos, they flew him out. Somebody did, and he's at the he was at both fights actually. He went from the Davis fight Saturday to the Haney fight Saturday to the Davis fight on Sunday.
Where were they?
I think they were both. One was in Vegas and one was in L.A. or in California somewhere.
So it's not too far.
Right, it wasn't far at all. And so the Haney fight was good, man. Like, you know, JoJo Diaz was poised. He came to fight, and you know he gave you know he landed some of his shots, and you know he gave Devin Haney all he could handle. But Devin Haney proved that, you know, he's a skilled technician in that ring.
Right.
And the thing that we question him and criticize him is, like, he doesn't seem to have that pop. He doesn't seem to have that power. Mm-hmm. Well, he's facing a guy who's moving up from a couple weight classes. He's facing a guy much smaller. And even after the fight, JoJo Diaz said that he's a good fighter, but he needs more pop.
Yeah.
And that's the bad thing. But the good thing is that he looked good against JoJo Diaz, who has great experience, who only has a loss from Gary Russell Jr., and, you know, who's been in the ring. He beat Tevin Farmer. He beat Javier Fortuna, who people seem to not want to fight. He was getting ready to fight Ryan Garcia until he pulled out, and he took the fight with Devin Haney. So it was a good showing for Haney. Like I said, he exhibited his great skills. He was getting hit a lot with the left hand. And the only thing that I could think of with a guy that small in JoJo Diaz, I said Tank is about that same size. Mm-hmm. Yet he's a heck of a lot stronger. And if Tank could land that left hand, Devin Haney seems to get bothered when he gets hit.
Yeah.
You know, when I see him take flush shots, and he takes it, he eats it, and he keeps going. He does what he has to do, so there's nothing wrong there. But it just seems to bother him. Like, I could tell. And the body language and everything. And I think when he steps up and he faces guys that can really hurt him, I mean, you know, he already did that against Linares. But when he faces somebody, you know, like a George Kambosos, like a Gervonta Davis, you know, I don't know how he's going to handle the power.
Yeah.
So that's my only critique and criticism. If he's going to fight Kambosos next, I can see him winning that fight, because I do think that he put on the proper skills, and that he has those skills to outbox Kambosos.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't get caught, and what happens if he does get caught? You know, can he handle that? Can he, you know, I've never seen, he's never had a moment where he really had to dig deep, other than the Linares fight, and in that fight, he didn't. you know, he didn't because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He could have escaped with the decision, which is what he did. You know, so he still didn't give a lot of the fans, a lot of the critics what they wanted to see, which is the action. You know, can you stop a guy even if you know somebody as small as JoJo Diaz?
Right.
And you know, we still didn't see that, but we saw a game guy, and we saw a guy who can box. We saw a guy who can use the skills that he has and put them to use the way he needs to do it to win a fight. And you know, it was a pretty dominant. I think I scored it like 8 rounds to 4, and I was being pretty generous to JoJo Diaz.
Yeah.
So yeah, good win for Devin Haney.
Is he undefeated?
Yes. Yeah, good win for Devin Haney. He's stepping up his resume, and he's doing things that we want to see him do. So, shout out to him. Yeah, and that was on Saturday. Sunday we had Sunday night boxing,
Which is why this is coming out a day late.
Yeah, but that was let me see, Tank, right?
Yep,
Tank
Gervonta
Davis versus Issac Cruz on Showtime pay-per-view. I kind of dogged this fight. I didn't like the idea about it. I didn't like it being on pay-per-view. That's the thing that I didn't like about it.
Especially on a Sunday.
Yeah. And I think in the last episode I was saying that the Devin Haney fight was on Friday and that this fight was on Saturday because I knew that they were a day apart, but I didn't know it was Saturday and Sunday.
That would have made more sense though, but yeah.
It would have, you know, but whatever. So anyways, starting with let's check this out. Miguel Miyaga versus Eduardo Ramirez. The Scorpion. This was a pretty good fight. You know, Ramirez would win 99-90 on all 3 judges' scorecards. Not much to say about this. You know, Miyaga came out looking sharp in the beginning and would start falling off, and Ramirez would you know, pick up the pace and would drop him in like the 4th round, and from there just kind of take control. And like I said, yeah, went on all 3 judges' scorecards.
Nice.
So that was the opening fight. The opening fight that I saw, anyways. Moving on to the co-main. No, not the co-main. With the next fight, Sergey Derevyanchenko, former Danny Jacobs opponent, former opponent of Triple G, mandatory to Canelo when they never made that fight happen. But you know, always been a game guy. Oh, he took on Jamal Charlo as well. You know, lost all these guys, but but the Triple G fight that was a close one. You could argue that he won that, and the Danny Jacobs fight. So, anyways, he takes on rising middleweight Carlos Adams. I don't know if this was no, this wasn't a title in there. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. I'm not sure, but good start for Sergey Derevyanchenko. I was trying to give him some rounds, but yeah, Carlos Adams would prove to be too much. A lot of relentless activity, a lot of good boxing. Dominican guy. There's a lot of good Dominicans starting to come up in boxing. So that's what's up. And I lied. This was for a title. This was a title eliminator. I believe WBC, and I think Jaime Munguia holds that strap, or WBO. Yeah. Well, Carlos Adams would win this fight, and he's gonna get a shot at Jaime Munguia, and I think if he can beat Sergey Derevyanchenko, he can beat Jaime Munguia. I think that'll be a good fight, unless he gets caught and gets knocked out, because that's the kind of fighter Munguia is. He'll knock you out, man. You know, even if you can outbox him, so don't get caught. But that'll be a good future fight. Now moving on to the co-main event, another title eliminator in the 154-pound division. This is the WBC title eliminator, so this would be for Jamal Charlo's, or I guess whoever wins between Jamal Charlo and Brian Castano when they meet up again. But Sebastian Fondora taking on Sergio Garcia, another game fighter out of Spain. We've been seeing a lot of those lately. Sebastian Fondora coming in at 17-0 with 12 knockouts. The dude is enormous for 154 pounds. He's like 6'6", bro. He has an 80-inch reach.
Wow.
That's like almost Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's exactly, his style is exactly what you'd expect from a guy with his like length and bro, he has these winging shots. He throws these winging shots. He keeps a pretty tight guard too, and he just gets so much torque behind his punches. You know, seemed to discouraged Sergio Garcia, at certain times, who was also undefeated, I believe so. Yeah, 33-0 with 14 KOs. Yeah, and like I said, man, Fondora's range was just crazy, man. And as relentless as Garcia tried to be, because he was, he didn't quit. It was hard to catch him, bro. You're trying to, I think Garcia was maybe like a 6 foot even.
Yeah.
So, which is a respectable height for his weight division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy, I don't know how far up in weight Fondora can go, but he could easily be a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And later in his career. Yeah, man, and he has a good chin too, because the shots that was coming in from Garcia, he was eating them. But ultimately, man, he was just too big for his opponent, and he would take him 12 rounds and win a pretty comfortable unanimous decision. It was a fun fight in the beginning, but just a whole lot of the same towards the end. You were just seeing the same round over and over again. I kind of tuned it out a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you, but yeah, not a bad co-main. Not a bad card. I just didn't know if it was pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah.
I thought that Gervonta Tank Davis would make very easy work of Issac, which I've been mispronouncing, by the way. Nobody wanted to correct me. Issac Pitbull Cruz. I thought Tank would make light work of this guy. He seemed to have a style that was tailor-made for him, and that come forward style, whereas David has a nice, counter punching, knock you out style. And, it was looking like this ain't going to go past 4 rounds. Well, it went the distance. Issac Cruz proved to be a very game fighter in the 135-pound division.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, so he came out looking real poised, super tight guard.
Yeah.
He was stalking Davis pretty much the whole fight. And by the way, that doesn't mean that you win rounds. You have to be successful. He was landing a lot of some great body shots in the beginning of the round, or in the beginning of the fight.
Yeah.
First couple of rounds, he had Davis's body all red. I mean, just red from just left, right hooks to the body. He wasn't throwing any jabs. He was smart. He knew that if he threw the jab, he would get countered.
Yeah.
And so he just came in with these, kind of like a video game. When somebody plays a video game and they don't really know how to play, they just kind of throw like haymakers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except he was really smart about it. A lot of just like left right combinations going to the body, then to the head. And I have a lot of rounds here that I circled. I gave Cruz the first round. I gave him the fourth. I gave him a couple rounds, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the beginning of the fight. But Tank would box beautifully, man. Tank, he's working with Floyd, man. You know what I mean? There's a reason why he's one of the best fighters out here. By like the 6th round, I would say, I think Tank has him figured out. 6th or 7th round, he's trying to land the uppercut. And you could tell he's winging it, he's missing it, and somewhere around the 7th round, I made note that Davis wasn't throwing his left hand. And by the 11th? Yeah, by the 10th, he didn't throw it at all. By the 10th round, he was a one-armed fighter.
Really?
Yeah. And Cruz couldn't, he still, even with a one-armed fighter, he couldn't make the adjustments to hurt Tank. I think in the 10th round, he had his best round, where he seemed to kind of hurt Tank, discourage him.
Yeah.
But there was no urgency. And then for the rest of the fight, Davis would kind of get on his bike, but do that in a successful way and, take these championship rounds.
Yeah.
And, let me see the judges' scorecards. There was 116 and 112, and 2 judges had it 115 and 113. Those are very close scores. Very close scores. So, there's this idea that this is an upset. Or not an upset, I'm sorry, a robbery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I think boxing has been getting it right a lot lately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think they've been doing a great job. I think the politics hasn't been getting in the way. I think a lot of the things that we've complained about over the years are starting to go away. And people don't recognize that, and they're kind of looking for reasons to get upset because they're so used to it.
Yep.
You know, you see a close fight happen last week with the Figueroa and Fulton fight.
Yep.
It was a close fight. It's not a robbery if it's a close fight. You know, it's a robbery if a fighter dominates and clearly wins and doesn't get the decision. That's not the case. That's not what happened here.
Yeah.
You know, Issac Cruz, we expected this guy to get knocked out early.
Yeah, it was really impressive performance, and like you said, I think he really did the work and like was really prepared for him. You know what I mean? Like I saw a lot of highlights where he was blocking the uppercut perfectly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like he was really ready for it. Like you said, he wasn't throwing certain punches to prevent the counters and shit.
He had the perfect game plan to not get knocked out.
Exactly.
And
the offense
he
was missing.
did very well in a fight where he won a lot of rounds, just not enough.
Yeah.
Just not enough. You know, he won, like, the first couple rounds were close. And maybe some of the rounds, maybe the 10th round. I gave him the 10th round. But, yeah, man, Cruz got a chin. He ate some shots. He ate shots from Tank. Tank is showing me, and he's been showing me in the past couple fights, that he could box, man. He's not just a knockout guy, man. He knows how to move. He knows how to be defensively responsible, and knows how to pick his shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They interviewed Tank after the fight, and this is another reason why people are upset. They interviewed Tank after the fight, and they asked him, "Do you think this fight warrants a rematch?" And he said, "Hell no." Like, he said it like that. But if you listen carefully, he asked him, "Do you think this fight needs a rematch? Do you think the performance, whatever the case may be?" And he said, "Nah," to that. But then in the post-fight interview in the conference, they asked him, and he said, "Look, I mean, if the fans really want it, we'll run it back. But they want to move on to bigger and better things. And let's face it, isn't that what we want?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I only want a rematch if it's like, you know, there's certain fights that you want a rematch. Like the AJ and Usyk fight, I don't really want a rematch.
Yeah.
I love AJ, man, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to beat him. You know what I'm saying? Just move on. Let's get undisputed. Which, by the way, they're talking about step aside money with AJ, and we might not get that rematch. We might get an undisputed fight, and then AJ would likely take on the winner. That would be much better.
Yeah.
Fight Wilder. In the meantime, that'd be dope.
They've been talking about the heavyweight undisputed for years now. Like.
Yeah. Well, ever since the pandemic and all that shit.
Yeah.
Kind of ruined it, and that's really what it is. It's the pandemic. The pandemic ruined it. If it wasn't for the pandemic, Fury and Wilder would have been fought, and AJ and Usyk would have had their fight even sooner. We would have had an undisputed champion by now. We would have at least had a fight. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy when you think about like the impact of like the fights that didn't happen because of the pandemic and like what could have happened.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All across the board.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking about with my whole thing about rematches and like how we didn't get a Loma versus Lopez rematch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was a pandemic fight. That was like, I think the first big fight in boxing in 2020.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, man. So like not every fight warrants a rematch, man. And I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. I go online, I read comments, and I just see people saying like, "Oh, robbery! This is the biggest robbery." Like every fight is the biggest robbery, and it's just like, man, these fans, man, they're so toxic, man.
Yeah.
This shit really, really bothers me, man. But Issac Cruz, I think he's a Pacquiao fighter. I think he fights under Pacquiao's promotional company, which is pretty fun to note.
Nice.
But yeah, man. So boxing, MMA, the 135 divisions, man, just across the board, man. So much heat over the weekend. I mean, in boxing, now where does Devin Haney go from here? Where does Tank go from here? They can fight each other. Obviously you got Kambosos at the disputed undisputed.
Yep.
You still got next week we have Lomachenko taking on Richard Comey. Ryan Garcia has been on Twitter.
Somewhere.
On Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, talking about how he wants to come back. And
what do you think about that, though? Do you think he's like wasting like good years?
Yeah, I agree with what Canelo said.
Yeah.
Canelo said he's not. He doesn't have his head fully in, and I don't disagree, and I don't blame him either. I mean, at the end of the day, like,
that kid got real famous real fast.
Yeah, and
and it wasn't for boxing.
It was boxing, but it wasn't fights. It was like training videos, and look at how fast this guy can hit the bag, in 5 seconds or whatever, you know, like, yeah. So, you know, yeah, he's a glorified Jake Paul. That's right, I'll say that. And actually, that's what these guys were saying, Floyd and Tank at the press conference. They was talking mad shit. They were like, what about Ryan Garcia? Man, Ryan Garcia, I mean, he's not a boxer. He's an Instagrammer. And he was like, I think he said he's an Instagram dime. Or something like
Instagram
that.
thought. That's like a
something
term.
like that. he called him basically like an IG model. And,
yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ryan, he has the skills. He can do it. He just he has to listen to Canelo. You got to get your head fully into boxing, and if that means delete your social media,
you might have to
delete
step
that
away
shit,
from that
bro.
shit, because I've seen that he's getting caught up in all that and all those stupid games with the baby mama drama on Instagram and like all this crazy shit.
Oh man, yeah,
and I'm like,
man,
dude,
fuck
like,
that shit, man. Like,
yeah, you don't want to be one of those guys.
You
man.
win a couple titles, you start to develop a legacy in boxing. That's the attention that you want, man.
Yeah,
that's the
for
attention that you want. That's the shit that'll get you enough respect to where you'll get the followers that you need, even if it isn't as much as you got now.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
he was doing it with his fights, like especially that last fight. You know what I mean, where he got knocked down and shit. Like, you know what I mean, like that was the first fight I watched of his. Obviously, I've seen him on Instagram a bunch of times, but you know what I mean. Like he definitely gained me as a fan after that one, and I wanted to see him fight more. Now, you know, he's nowhere.
Faced adversity and came back and Tank had nothing but bad things to say on Twitter at that time. Yeah, man. So you know that you bring that rivalry back, man. When Ryan was the mandatory for Devin Haney, he basically turned it down and was like, "Nah, I want Tank."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at that fight he was saying he edged the crowd to go, "We want Tank, we win," and Devin Haney was in the building like, "All right, well, you don't want my belt." So, so I mean, a lot of different things can happen in this 135 division.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's exciting, man. I'm excited to see where this goes, man. Like I said, I guess we can move on to future events. Next week we got Loma taking on Richard Comey. Loma's going after all the former Teofimo opponents. Like he really wants that. I don't know if he still wants that rematch now, but
yeah, I guess not.
Did you hear about Teofimo doctor coming out saying that he could have died in that fight? Because you know he has asthma.
Oh, really?
And he had something. He has air in his lungs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm questioning what happened, man. Was it that fucking punch from the mountain guy?
Oh shit, the mountain, yeah.
You know, he had air in his lungs. He was actually told to postpone the fight, but because the fight got postponed a million times, he didn't want to do it. And they said that he could have died in that fight. And you know, I mean, people, you know, you could choose whether you want to believe stuff on the internet, even if like official doctors are telling it to you. But that's crazy, man.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a fighter does that.
Oh yeah, I mean that boxing. Yeah,
we just found out that Kamaru Usman broke his hand. He went into the Colby Covington fight with a broken hand.
Yeah,
he said he didn't throw his left hand like for 3 weeks before leading up to that night.
And they won't tell him. They won't tell the commission, because then the commission will cancel the fight. And the fans, the toxic ass fans will be like, "Oh, he's ducking. Oh, he's scared. This, that, and the third." Yeah, man, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad, especially if disaster would have struck. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So, anyways, next week we have Loma taking on Comey with Jared Anderson on the undercard, as well as Nico Ali Wash. And earlier that day, in UK, they're gonna have Conor Benn take on Chris Algieri. That'll be a fun little fight. And Katie Taylor on the undercard against Firuza Sharapova. That'll be another. You know, Katie Taylor's also undisputed. See, the women are getting it in, bro. You got 3 undisputed champions, you know, in the women's division, bro. These men gotta step it up, man. And I think they will, man. I think as long as these toxic ass fans just shut up, you know what I'm saying? Just take what's given to them. You know, we don't always get the perfect Super Bowls and World Series. We don't always get the perfect playoff matchups, man. Same thing in boxing, same thing in MMA, man. It's the same thing, bro. You know, just take what you can get, enjoy it. It's getting good. There's never been a better time to be a combat sports fan, man. What's going on next week in MMA?
We got the big UFC card 269.
Nice
pay-per-view. For the lightweight belt, Charles Oliveira defending against Dustin Poirier. Man, that's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
I really don't know. I really don't know if that's gonna go. If it goes long or goes short. I mean, Dustin Poirier can. We know he can go into war. We've seen him in wars. Same thing with Charles Oliveira. Both guys got chins. If I had to pick, I think I'd pick Oliveira by submission, just because he's got the most submission wins.
Yeah.
I think he's got the most finishes because of the submissions. He got the most finishes in the lightweight division.
You think Oliveira can submit Poirier?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Dustin got submitted by Khabib, and Khabib's Khabib, but I think Charles Oliveira could submit Poirier. I think that's probably Poirier's biggest weakness. Not that it's a weakness, but I think like jiu-jitsu specifically. Like I think he can wrestle. I don't know if he does like jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. All right.
Which is when it comes to submissions is a little different. I mean, I'm sure he does it. I'm sure he defends, and he knows what to do. Obviously, obviously he's a professional fucking fighter. But I think that's what Charles Oliveira has the biggest strength against Dustin.
Yeah.
Because Charles isn't really a power guy. You know what I mean? Like Dustin can take a punch. Like I don't see him knocking Dustin out. So I can see him submitting him. Or I can see Dustin knocking Charles Oliveira out because we've seen Charles get knocked out. We know that he has. He has a good chin, but he can be hurt.
Right.
Dustin's coming off these huge performances. I wonder where Dustin's head is at too. You know what I mean? Like he's coming off the two biggest fights of his career, making the most money he's ever made.
Yeah.
Like he's a different guy now. I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't say that, but it's gonna be interesting to see where he's at mentally. And Charles Oliveira, man, I think, I follow that guy on Instagram. He's in Brazil in the mountains, fucking riding horses and training in the fucking jungle and shit. Like, this guy seems like he's ready for war.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira by submission with that one.
Nice.
And then I think the winner will fight, Justin Gaethje, who's waiting. Yeah. And then the co-main, Amanda Nunes makes her return. Defending her bantamweight title against Julia Pena. It's really hard to bet against Amanda, but Julia Pena is Venezuelan, so fuck it, I'm gonna go with the Hispanic fighter.
Yeah, and she's coming off a long layoff.
Yeah, real long.
Plus her first fight back from COVID.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not always good.
And same thing with her. I wonder where she's at mentally because seems like she's in like full like mommy mode. Amanda Nunes, she's like a new mom. Like she had a baby this year. Well, she didn't have the baby. Her wife had the baby.
Right.
Fuck, I forget her name, but she's a fighter in the UFC as well. So I follow her on Instagram, and she just it seems like she's just fucking being a mom and enjoying life. So
yeah, man, that could turn you soft, man. Once you get civilized.
And she's done so much. Amanda's defended both belts already. Like she's beat everybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't think her beating Julia Pena, it really is adds that much to her legacy, but
so if the odds are too much in her favor, man, just put a couple dollars on Pena.
I would say Pena by, if I was gonna put money on it, I'd put like you could probably win a lot of money if on Pena by submission.
$20,
yeah,
like $20-$30 on it.
Yeah, I might do it. Fuck it.
I might have to do that too.
But yeah, man, that would be wild if she pulls that off. That would be crazy. And honestly, it's kind of what the women's bantamweight division needs, man. That needs to be shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Amanda just beat everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long she plans on doing it, but man, like how on the UFC Instagram they always play the highlights of like everything of like the fighter right before they fight. Like I was watching Amanda Nunes highlights, dude. Her knockouts are fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like man, she's a fucking beast.
Yeah. Facts.
She's a beast. It was crazy, but yeah, that's next week, man. And some other decent fights on there. Sean O'Malley's on the card. I'm getting fucking tired of that motherfucker calling people out and then like saying he wants to fight people and then keeps fighting these unranked guys. But I'm sure he'll probably end up getting another spectacular knockout. He's fun to watch. I just like hating on him. Cody Garbrandt's also on that fight. He's gonna be making his flyweight debut. He's going down from 135 to 125. So that should be interesting. But yeah, man, a lot of good fights.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that card. I feel like because the last month's pay-per-view, I went to it, and I feel like we haven't had one since then, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like it's been a while. Since I had the guys over.
Yeah. So my fault. Is that it for you?
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. So we posted this on the page, but we'll just put it on the episode as well. Triple G's fight with Ryota Murata is postponed because Japan is upping their restrictions. So that sucks. Did we talk about the most electrifying guy in combat sports, Jake Paul?
No, we didn't.
Nah? Oh, Jake Paul. Tommy Fury pulls out of the Jake Paul fight.
Surprisingly.
And Tyron Woodley was like, "Yerp," for the replacement, and boom, it happened just like that.
It's crazy because I actually saw the announcement of Woodley taking the fight before I saw that Tommy Fury pulled out of it.
Wow. That's weird.
Yeah.
So the freak show must continue. The freak show must go on. And
but honestly, now I'm a little more interested than with
so
Tommy Fury.
So I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't interested. I think we spoke on that. We weren't interested at all. And now it's like, hey, we're back on this bandwagon.
Let's see if Woodley could do it this time.
So, yeah, but yeah, man, that's all I got.
Yeah, I wonder if this has anything. This is just maybe a little throwing this out there. I saw last week it was going around. Or maybe it probably was this weekend that Tommy Fury's dad was saying how Jake Paul didn't want to do any kind of drug testing, and pretty much insinuating that he's doing steroids and shit.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of days later, he pulls out. I don't know. I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, and he's not the first person to say that. Like,
I think he's definitely doing steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at that kid before he got famous, same thing with his brother. They were just skinny like white kids. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were not they didn't look very athletic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the wild, wild west, man. Especially when you do it on a YouTube level.
Yeah.
Where it's more it's closer to WWE than it is to actual boxing and MMA. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Steroids and boxing.
I hate it. I mean, normally I would say like, well, if you can get away with it, if they're doing it, whatever type shit. But it's just like, man, you're fighting, bro. Like this isn't baseball, Like this isn't baseball where motherfuckers will go to jail and shit. Like you're hitting a fucking ball.
What do you think about them possibly just like letting them do whatever they want?
Nah, that's crazy, bro. You're gonna kill people. You're gonna have people get killed.
And we'll see some real fucking like science experiments and shit. Like,
oh yeah, that too, man. Because I mean, and that's what they're doing. They're finding ways to hide it. They're finding ways to hide it and put it in. You can go to GNC or any of those vitamin stores and take something that you would fail a test if you were gonna box or fight.
And I didn't even know, but apparently a lot of times they get caught, they get popped for something that is meant to cover something else.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's why like, damn, what's that guy's name in Canelo's camp? That fuck Casal, Oscar Valdez. I think he that's what happened with him. He popped for something that clears other substances, and that's just speculation here, but I don't know, man. I hate it. I mean, like I don't stand for any of that shit, bro. I don't care if it's just a fat burner, cause it's usually a fat burner that disguises other substances that otherwise would give you benefits. But fat burners will help you lose weight to make weight, so that's cheating. I mean, it's all cheating, man. That's why I kind of like Caleb Plant's stance, even though I don't criticize Canelo like that. I think he's in the clear for all the extracurricular activity that he did to prove that he was innocent with the Clenbuterol situation. But I still like Caleb Plant's stance. That motherfucker said, "Hey, did he fail the drug test? Yeah. Did he get suspended? Yeah. So why you asking me? It's well documented. So yeah, man, I want people to, look at these steroid allegations a little more seriously, if you're not already, and understand, like, bro, people are putting their lives on their line. Like, I'm a fan of fights, but I'm a fan of the sport. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like seeing motherfuckers just get their ass beat for no reason. Yeah. I'm a fan of two guys agree to fight at a certain weight. It's gonna be fair. It's gonna be. And if you happen to get your ass whooped, you happen to get your ass whooped. But not on a cheating or on a slimy level like that. Yeah,
I don't even like when guys cut too much weight. Like even
that's bad.
Like I forget what it was. I think it's like one championship that they have some kind of like hydration tests where they won't let you go below a certain amount of water weight. So you can't. They don't let you completely dehydrate yourself.
Oh wow.
And I think the UFC should start doing that, because I really hate that shit. How some guys like they'll cut fucking Dustin Poirier supposedly he goes in the octagon like they said his last fight he went in at 186. He fights at 155.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. If you remember, like in the last episode, I told you how I did that 2-day fast.
Yeah.
Bro, when I did the 2-day fast and I weighed myself, I was at like 150. And then I weighed myself a few days later, and now, mind you, that's after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Bro, I was at like 180.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? So like, and obviously I'm not a fighter, but like, yeah. So you can see how like if somebody can, like you said, and that was with water weight, the 150. So if I didn't have any water weight on me, man, I probably would have been at 140,
down,
2 or something like that. So. Yeah, man. Yeah, you can really drain yourself of a lot of natural weight a day before the fight. A lot of people want boxing to go back to what it used to be, which was weighing in the day of the fight.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe MMA too, but yeah, man. I don't like that. More importantly, I hate any type of banned substance use. It's bullshit. It's bullshit that people can. Like I said, the wild, wild west, bro. There's nobody. You're only getting tested when you have a fight. So, not blaming anybody, but like for example, we haven't seen Triple G in how long?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His clock is ticking, bro. We got to see that guy in the ring before it's too late. But when these fighters have these long layoffs of inactivity, they're not getting tested, unless they're with VADA. Not every fighter's with VADA. But yeah, man.
The UFC too. The UFC now uses USADA. So they have like, if you're like in the UFC like testing pool, you're in it, and they can like randomly test you at any time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of USADA. I like VADA better, but I mean, as long as you're getting tested frequently, I think that there's a lot of speculation with USADA being created. Man, I don't even want to get into it, man. But created to disguise some shit. I don't know. There's controversy behind it. I'll just put it that way. And that doesn't mean that it's true. There's just controversy behind it. You can look that up on your own.
And now they work for the UFC. So obviously there's a little conflict there, but
yeah, exactly. But regardless, I'm against that shit. If I find out that some of my favorite fighters, the fighters that I do praise, are on it. Boom, those praises like automatically go out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You gotta have respect, man. You gotta have respect for the fighters, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Word.
But yeah, you got anything else?
No, man. That's it. I don't think there was too many other fights announced or anything like that.
Word. Yeah, I mean, anything for next year, I'll just save it for next year. But
we still have another episode before that one, right? Before
next year. Yeah.
Yeah, this year's going by quick.
Got a couple more weeks, Christmas and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Until next week, we would thank you for tuning into episode 20. Once again, my name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
This is the OnlyFights Podcast, and we out.
Peace.